We have a country where to assimilate, you have to speak English.
As of March 1st, Trump signed an executive order making English the official language of America. Now, this is huge, actually. Some people might think it's not. Some people might think this is a divisive thing, but this is common sense. A country with a national language, it's a big factor. It's a unifier. It allows people to communicate better. It only makes sense that we have a national language. You'll have people that want to come here, and guess what? They should, as mandatory, they should learn the language. This is really something that people should not take for granted.
President Trump has been calling out the consequences of the migrant crisis for years.
We have languages coming into our country. We don't have one instructor in our entire nation that can speak that language. These are languages. It's the craziest thing. They have languages that nobody in this country has ever heard of.
So he's doing something about it. The president has just signed an executive order making English the official language of the United States. The move cancels out a Clinton-era mandate that required federal agencies to provide language assistance to non-English speakers.
And this makes sense. This is exactly my point. We are in America. The majority of people in this country speak English. Why is it that we have to provide assistance to those that are suffering and not speak English? If you're coming here from another country, you're coming here to, you want to live here, you ought to do your due diligence and learn the language. And I feel like if you're not putting any effort, then what are you doing here? Why is it that the people of this country have to bend backwards to try to accommodate for you when it should be the other way around, and you should be learning English the darnest you can so you could live here and you could provide for yourself. You can get better opportunities by being able to communicate with the majority of folks here which speak English.
Joey, about 180 countries across the world already have an official language. Why are we so late to the party?
I mean, we're late to the party because we're probably one of the only nations here who has to do these things where we have to accommodate so much for people that are coming here when they should be prioritizing learning the language. When you want to come to, let's say, France, and you want to live there, guess what? You're going to have to learn the French language, or else there's not going to be that much opportunities for you. But in America, apparently it's an exception. We have to have all these inefficiencies. We have to provide a lot of things which cost a lot of money so that we can accommodate for these people that come in here to live here and not even bother to learn the language. And so when they go to a location which provides job and then they're speaking another language, then people aren't going to be able to accommodate for them and maybe potentially hire them because the language barrier is there. But the fact that this country do not have any requirements for people that come here, that English is obviously not their language, is really baffling to me. We should definitely make the language mandatory, just like Denmark makes it so that if you're not learning Danish, if your plan is to live there in a year's time, if there's no progress, that will determine at least a big factor of it, whether you stay in the country or not. We should be doing something similar.
Well, there's a spirit of freedom, and in that idea of freedom, can't mandate how you live your life, even to the language you speak. This idea that we're a country of immigrants, which we are.
Yes, we're a country of immigrants, but we're also a nation that has that have the language as the majority for, I believe, 78%. And the country is founded. Our founders spoke English. They're native English speakers. And the Constitution is also in English. So that's one of those things that's an aspect of the American tradition. So there should be no contention when it comes to this matter. So I don't know why we don't have English as a national language. I'd like to know, what do you guys think about this? Sound it off in the comments below.
However, we have an office of government efficiency. We have a new sheriff in town who looks at things and goes, what can maximize our efficiency? Do we need to be wasting money in their mind on this multilingual federal government? So making it an official language truly applies to the federal government, how it operates, and what you basically mandate or provide within the mechanism of these millions of people, I guess, that work for the federal government. So I think it's about efficiency more than anything. It's also very on brand for this idea of America first. We are an English-speaking country.
And this is exactly to my point. We are an English-speaking nation. And if you want to manage a country, we should have a unified language, which the majority of the workers and the officials that are working in the government, the language is English. Our documents are in English. Having to accommodate for other languages makes no sense. It really goes against the efficiency of it. We can have the country run better if we just have a unified language, and in this case, it's English.
We are in a critical identity crisis as to what is American culture. American culture is an amalgam, and that's a great thing, but it is American, and we speak English.
Exactly. Part of our culture here is that English is embedded in our society, in our entertainment, in our constitution, in every facets of our life. So it only makes sense that there should be no contention whether English is an official language or not, or if it's a bad thing to even establish that to be the case when it is. So, I mean, this is just common sense stuff, really.
That's a great point. Sarah?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it helps us integrate, right? We see so many, and I saw that in California. I was talking to Jason a little bit about this. I remember when my daughter was very young, when she was in kindergarten, she was at the public school in California, and all the other kids in her classroom were Spanish speaking, the entire kindergarten class. And her teacher said, you know, I have to spend all my time getting these children up to par with the English language. I don't even have time to teach the children that actually speak English as their first language. So that is a very difficult process. It's a process within the schools and throughout our communities. And like you said, just becoming a part of the American culture and a part of this American dream requires that we all speak English.
Yes, exactly. This is my point. I mean, in my perspective, where I work, there are people in there that English is their second language. But then periodically we would have people come in, they want to work here, but they cannot communicate why they want to work here. We have certain requirements, that qualifies you to work, in my job. But there is that language barrier. And I only have an application for English. And let's say I have these, say, 1 to 3 people coming in here in my job, and they want to work here, but they can't even express to me what it is that they do. And to me, that's frustration. And it's not fair for me and the millions and millions of people that live in this country that we have to bend backwards to facilitate their needs when the burden should really be on them. If they want to come here and live here, they have to speak the language. Just like if you would go to France, Germany, Japan, Korea, whatever the place may be, you have to speak the language. You have to make the effort to learn the language.
And that's important.
Great points had by all teams.
This actually brings me to a very good point, actually. Back in 2016, when Trump was running for president, and during the Republican campaigns and in the debate stage, he said it best, really.
We have a country where to assimilate, you have to speak English. And I think that where he was and the way it came out didn't sound right to me. We have to have assimilation. To have a country, we have to have assimilation. I'm not the first one to say this, Dana. We've had many people over the years, for many, many years, saying the same thing. This is a country where we speak English, not Spanish.
Well, that'll be all, guys. This was a quick video, really. I just had to respond to this executive order. I do have a question. What do you guys think? Do you think people that come to this country, should they learn the English language, or should they really not even bother to try? I mean, I would say they should, but I'd like to hear your comments, guys. I'll see you in the next video.